Just one thing that I would like to point out is, will there be a formal announcement, intimation to everyone that the 1st of April as a date for implementation isn't going to work, that this needs to get pushed forward now? I think that is the critical bit. Because, all the issues, there were 3 issues before the GST Council. As you said, it was a one-day meeting, and perhaps the last before the budget. I mean, the budget is on the 1st of February. And all 3 issues would relate to how control will be exercised between the centre and states. So the first was control over assessment of GST, I mean, that 1.5 crore turnover bit. The second was the administration of IGST. And the third was about taxation under territorial waters. There was a story today in one of the leading newspapers which said that the third point, that is, who will tax territorial waters around the states, that has been sorted out. Centre will collect, distribute to states. But the other 2 issues, which is dual control and the IGST issue, I think there has been no kind of breakthrough. So will this now mean that the government actually comes out and says that 1st of April, it's not doable? Because so far, although I think general expectation has kind of now shifted more or less to say that, well, it may be 1st of July. I mean, some have even got to say that, well, it could be 1st of September in terms of date of rollout, date of implementation. But the central government and its ministers have all maintained for a while that, well, guess what? We want to stick to 1st of April. We would like to do 1st of April. But is it even possible now? I mean, there is no time left, really, right? I mean, to kind of meet that 1st of April deadline. You've got to sort the dual control issue. And, you've got to put items into buckets. I mean, we have the slabs, but what item goes into what bucket? That will take days of deliberation. I mean, that is what one assumes, because there lies the meat of the legislation. Which product gets taxed at what rate? So we've not even got to that point yet. We just have the slabs, and we've not gotten past the dual control issue. So I think, if we get proper kind of communication in terms of what the rollout date could be, I think that would be pretty useful. But I'm being told that we have a couple of guests joining us on the show. Mr. Harishankar Subramaniam is with us on the phone line. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining in. You've been with us through our programming on this issue. So no consensus, sir. No consensus on dual control. I was just, before I came to you, I was saying, will we hear anything official in terms of a change in timeline on GST, sir? What's your sense?
Not sure, because like you rightly said, I heard you saying that the official statement continues to remain April 1st. So I think with every passing day that looks a challenge. And I don't know whether they will make a statement today, or they may probably wait till budget. Is something we'll have to wait and watch. But I think more and more it looks evident that April 1st deadline will not be possible, because now I don't believe the next council meeting will happen before the first budget session of the parliament, because it's likely to happen only somewhere in February. So I'm not too sure about the April 1st date. Rather, it looks really challenging.
Yeah.
The second fact is, I don't know whether they will make an announcement today. I don't know whether the finance minister has made any statement post the council meeting.
Right. No.
Has he already made a statement?
No, he's not. He's going to, sir. There is a press conference scheduled for 5 or maybe a little later after 5. But there's a press conference schedule. So we hope to hear from him and maybe ask him a few questions as well.
I would say it will be good for the industry to know.
Yes.
So more or less, even we did a survey among the CEOs and CFOs, and the survey also indicated that more and more people felt that it will be more towards 1st of July. And the industry is welcoming this move because it gives them more time to prepare, for
Yeah.
But having said that, it would be great if there is a clarity, and if there is an official statement, if there is genuinely a problem on this dual empowerment, then one might as well make a statement that this is what could be the new date.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether he's going to make it in the press conference today,
yes,
or he will make it during budget.
So what we understand, the news that we've got is from the Kerala finance minister, who said that there has been no decision which has been made yet. But we're also being told by our reporter in Delhi, Sapna, that the meeting is still on, and it may go on for another sort of half an hour or so. So, unless, of course, something dramatic happens, and there is actually a consensus, etc., so far, what we understand from the Kerala finance minister, who actually has communicated very openly, has been one of the more vocal state finance ministers, that there is no consensus on dual control in today's GST Council meeting. but the meeting is still on. There is one important implication of this GST announcement. I mean, the fact that there is no consensus, the fact that the budget will be a normal budget. I mean, if the GST rollout would have been from the 1st of April, then the budget, Mr. Subramaniam, do weigh in on this,
Yeah.
the budget would have been essentially devoid of any matters with respect to excise, etc., right? I mean, it would have pertained to just direct taxes. But since
and maybe
yes,
on some tweaks in customs duty. You know?
yes, some tweaks. It would have still included, but to a large measure, the budget would not have made dramatic changes. It would have left it to the GST Council, right?
Correct.
So this is now looking like this at least will be a normal budget with everything. I mean, direct, indirect taxation matters, etc. Mr. Sachin Menon is also with us of KPMG India. Mr. Menon, thanks very much. We are being told by our reporter that there is no consensus on dual control in the meeting today. It was a one-day meeting, and there is no consensus. We also learned that differences between center and states have appeared to have narrowed down. So the finance minister has maintained that he would like a consensus. He doesn't want to put this to a vote. What's your sense? Does it look like it's doable on the 1st of April, as the centre has claimed so far, or increasingly it looks that it will get pushed through?
Well, I think the finance minister cannot give out a date unless and until there is a near consensus on the implementation date in the board committee. And therefore, he has to maintain the official version saying that 1st April 2017 would be the implementation date, which was the earlier statement. So he's holding on to it unless and until he get a clear acceptance of the states. It will be difficult for him to commit a date. And even if he commit a date, it would be considered to be, exceeding his brief. So therefore, the current dilemma will continue. Now, it is too short of a time within which the states can come to a consensus, because this is an issue which was split vertically the GST Council across. So therefore, there will be some give and take. There will be some extended deliberations on this matter before they are agreeing on to the issue of dual control as well as the.
Right. Right. So, Mr. Menon, would it be advisable for the government? I understand, as you said, the finance minister can't put out a date till he has, he knows where the matter actually stands in terms of agreement, coming to a consensus. But from an industry point of view, would it be advisable to actually put out a date, or because does that leave the industry in a bit of a limbo? I mean, when you say 1st of April.
Yes. Definitely, yes. I don't think 1st of April is doable as of now, because even after coming to a consensus, there is so many provisions of the law which the.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to come back to you. I think my colleague has spoken with Thomas Isaac, the State Finance Minister of Kerala. Let's cut across.
No agreement till now, sir?
No.
Sir, what do you see now? Was a new date considered?
Now, date we haven't decided. I left early.
Sir, just 2 minutes if you can come outside, sir, please. Sir, please, sir. Sir, 2 minutes, sir. He's coming out, he's coming out.
That discussion. The discussions are still going on. There is no agreement as to how the tax is set to be administered. There is one agreement that IGST will be the mutually empowerment model will be applied. To territorial waters, taxation power would be delegated to the states. And third is the SGST and CGST. Now there are different models. Some people want vertical division of control. Others stand for horizontal division with vertical division for the larger traders. Some compromise will be worked out.
Sir, but what do you think, sir? What could be a possible or a close compromise?
Okay, below 1.5 would be under the administrative control of the states.
Both goods and services?
Yes, and center would have certain limited amount of, say, audit functions.
Okay.
That could be one possible compromise. Discussions are going on. I can't say that.
Sir, but when you...
Is that any decision on dual control happened, sir, up till now?
No.
Sir, and what about a new rollout date, sir? What about a new rollout date, sir? Because April 1... No discussion so far, sir?
No.
Sir, when is the next meeting?
Territorial waters അത് യോജിപ്പായി സെൻട്രൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റിന് ഡെലിഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. IGSTയിൽ സെൻറ്ററും സ്റ്റേറ്റും ഒരുമിച്ചായിരിക്കും നികുതി പിരിക്കുക. ബാക്കിയുള്ള നികുതിയിൽ 1.5 ലക്ഷം.
All right, so that is the Kerala State Finance Minister. As I said, I mean, he has been the most vocal. He's come out and explained the issues properly to, of course, the team of reporters waiting outside and essentially making the point that issues still remain unresolved. I don't think there is anything dramatically new in what he said, except the fact that they're still kind of working towards it. Mr. Subramaniam is with us. Mr. Menon is with us, and Mr. M.S. Mani, Senior Director at Deloitte, is also now joining in from our studios. Mr. Menon, I interrupted you there. You were making the point about clarity for the industry and how a date by the government would help. Go on, sir.
Yeah, well, so industry's perspective, industry definitely looking forward for a definite date so that they can be ready. There are a lot of work to be done, and the Indian mindset, whenever there is a doubt on implementation, people go back to little bit of a lazy mood, and whatever initiation of GST impact analysis, etc., is slow down. So it is better that government give them a definite date so that they can be ready by that deadline, and therefore it is always advisable that government should give them some indication about the likely date. So that is always there. Now, hearing what the Finance Minister of Kerala said, I think the issue of the territorial water seems to have settled.
Yes.
So, yeah, so he said that that is agreed. And which was the case earlier also. Even today also, up to 12 nautical miles, most of the states are taxing those transactions happening. So there is, that's a climb down.
Mr. Menon, I think he said IGST is also is close to being settled?
No, so what he said was that up to 1.5 crores.
Yes, under 1.5.
By 5 crores, it will be manned by administered exclusively by the states. But there will be limited audit functions, audit authority with the central government. So if you want to pick and choose some of the associates within 1.5 for an audit, then that can be done. That's what he said.
Okay. Mr. M.S. Mani is also with us here in the studio. Sir, I request you to hold the line, Mr. Subramaniam and Mr. Menon. Mr. Mani, okay, I think we have Thomas Isaac, the State Finance Minister of Kerala, joining us right now on the phone line. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you joining in. Could you, for our viewers, tell us what happened in the meeting today and whether you have you moved forward? We already know that there is no agreement, consensus on dual control, but what really happened, sir, today?
Different have narrowed down, but no final agreement has been reached regarding the administration of the tax. Now, certain agreements reached are one, territorial waters, states will continue to tax as they have been doing in the past.
So that is settled now, is it?
That is virtually settled.
Okay.
Two, it has been agreed, though the constitutionally IGST is a federal tax, there will be the functions also will be delegated to states. So IGST will also be jointly administered by the state. Now, regarding the third issue of cross-empowerment.
Mr. Isaac, sorry, could you repeat point number 2, sir? Your audio is not very clear. Could you repeat that, sir, for us?
The second point is that IGST would be implemented under cross-empowerment model. That is to say, though IGST is strictly interpreted by constitutional provision, is tax that is collected, assigned, and levied by this sender. States also would have a role in its administration. That is also agreed upon. Now, the third point. Hello?
Yes, go on, sir. We are here, listening keenly. Go on.
The third point is regarding the administration of SD.
Administration of?
The GST tax.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, there are two polar contrasting models. One is a vertical division from top to bottom, irrespective of size, between center and state. Center said 50-50, Gujarat, Maharashtra and so on said 1/3 for center, 2/3 for states. So that's one model. In contrast, a section of the states, particularly West Bengal, Kerala and so on, have been taking the position that below, as a horizontal division, below 1.5 crore turnover, it would be the domain of the states. And above 1.5 crore, it will be under dual control through mutual empowerment. Now, today, a kind of compromise is being worked out, which is especially a suggestion from Tamil Nadu, where below 1.5 would be under administrative purposes under the control of the state. But center would be given a small percentage of assessees for audit purpose and so on. So ratio is said to be 90:10. So this proposal is now currently being debated.
Okay, so this is being debated as we speak in the council. The meeting is still on, we understand, right, sir?
Meeting is still on, but I don't think a decision can be possible today.
Right.
Because some of the ministers have left and so on.
Right.
But this is perhaps one option.
So the option, this has come from the state of Tamil Nadu, you're saying, is that below 1.5 crore turnover, Go on, sir.
That instead of a pure vertical division
Yes.
or pure horizontal division, there will be a horizontal division. Below 1.5 would be under the administration of the state.
States, but 10% of the SSCs can be audited by the center.
Would be, for audit purpose and so on.
How does it make a how does this kind of, why would this be acceptable to the center? What does it give the center for them to kind of agree to this?
Now, center wants to have a hand in the entire tax base, including small dealers. States have been arguing right from the beginning, small dealers are more closest to states, and we have been dealing with them in the past. And the central intervention that will create unnecessary confusion and fear and anxiety. So this basic point of difference from the start. Now I think compromise is being worked out in this way.
Okay. So just to recap for our viewers, the first two issues, territorial waters, IGST, I mean, those are close to being being settled, right?
Yeah.
The third issue, which is control of the assessments, that a new proposal has been made, which is being debated in the
That's right.
GST.
It would be a compromise between pure vertical division and pure horizontal division.
Sure. So should we? Would there be another meeting, sir, before?
Definitely, there will have to be another meeting because there are
no in the near future, or now we will only see a meeting post the union budget.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is only after the budget, is it? Okay, I think we lost the line there, but we should try and call Mr. Isaac back. The line got disconnected, but he did give us some specifics. He said on the issue of dual control, below 1.5 lakh turnover, the administrative control remains with states, as the states have been asking for. But according to a proposal which has been mooted, in terms of auditing, it can be split 90-10, 90 in favor of states, 10% in favor of centre. That is a proposal which has been mooted, which the GST Council rather, is debating at this point in time. Mr. Mani is with us. Mr. Menon, Mr. Subramaniam are with us, top sort of tax experts of the country. Mr. Mani, you heard the Kerala State Finance Minister. What do you make of this specific proposal and anything else that you might have found interesting in his comments?
I think the idea to have SSCs below 1.5 crores under the administrative purview of the state, but with a power to have an audit by the centre would lead to a lot of challenges for taxpayers. I think for a very long time what has been suggested by all the taxpayers is that there needs to be one authority which oversees them. We do not wish to have multiple authorities, and the whole purpose of GST was to remove multiple taxes and multiple tax authorities. So if we are now going to have a single tax with multiple tax authorities, I don't think too many people will be happy about it. More so when we are talking of 1.5 crores and below, we are talking of small traders.
Yes.
Now we are talking of people who may not be very good in terms of having their books of accounts.
Yes.
We are talking of people who can't engage a tax consultant. If this set of people is going to be administratively controlled by one authority and audited by another authority, to my mind, that may not be a very good idea.
It is a dilution, absolutely. Mr. Subramaniam, you want to come in, sir? You heard the minister talk to us. What do you make of this?
So couple of things. What I can see is that there has been some talk in comparison to what happened last time. So they have come to some agreement, whether it's the territorial waters, to be there as far as the tax administration is concerned, because the whole fact that the finance minister has been echoing right through the council meeting is to ensure that we have single authority or a regulator looking at either the state or the centre looking at the taxpayers.
Mr. Subramaniam,
so kind of a is not going to be welcomed by the industry.
When we say 10% SSCs, of those SSCs under 1.5 lakh crores being audited by the centre, what does it really mean? I mean, when we say audited?